welcome back to Fresh Progress Beauty. And for this video, I've recruited my BFF here, who is a junior, rising senior in college, and myself, a college student. And we're both going to be sharing some college tips that we think is really important. It will range from things you should know, things that we learned from college, reading and homework tips, time management, and social life in college.
Okay, so college is going to be like really intense, and you basically have to learn to run yourself like a business. You're gonna be managing yourself, your classes, your social life, everything, your finances, how much you're gonna pay for lunch, laundry, all of that. And a lot of people don't consider that or take that into consideration because they have an idea in their head, in their mind about college that's like fictional. What we see in movies and TV shows is not what it's actually all about. Your GPA is important, internships are important. College is just, it's not a time to play around. It's a time to get serious and actually plan and figure out what you're all about as a person.
Yeah.
If you don't know what your major is, I suggest really getting involved and trying to figure out what you're all about.
Yeah. I think one thing I've learned throughout college is it really teaches you what you don't like. And while I agree, like, you definitely need to learn if you don't know what you do want to do with college, you do need to take that summer before college, going to career services, taking personality exams, seeing your aptitude, seeing your strengths, you know? I see so many people major in things and they're not strong in it, but they're just majoring it because their mom wants to be them a nurse, their mom wants them to be a lawyer. Do things that you have strengths in. She has really good strengths in sewing and color coordination and style and like fashion design and editing and illustration, so a lot of things. So she has these strengths, and like every person has different strengths and aptitudes that they work with. So I'd say first thing, find your aptitude, find your strengths before college. Another thing, how to study. That is so like, we talked about first semester is the hardest.
First semester, like, if you don't have your GPA up there, it's going to be very hard to keep it up in the next semesters because you might get more classes, you might get classes that are even more difficult than the previous semester. And the library is going to be your best friend. The librarian, your tuition is going towards her paycheck, so you have to work her or him to death.
That's so true. And like, another thing with how you study, like there's Gardner's theories of learning. So that means, are you an auditory learner? Are you a tactile? Are you a person who reads and just like memorizes it really well? Does writing help you? Does drawing help you? What do you think helped you from like first semester to second semester in terms of studying?
Well, I like making everything fun. I hate boring myself to death. I make up acronyms, songs, I listen to music. If I'm studying something, I'll have different flavors of gum. I'll chew a flavor of gum while I'm studying one subject to memorize something. And when I'm taking the test, I'll put that same stick of gum in my mouth and I'll remember. I'm more of like a visual and sensory person when it comes to learning. And I can't focus if something is not fun, basically.
I feel like something that helped me is just playing around with different methods and knowing that different study tips work for different classes. So I was studying the same for all my classes, but you can't study the same way for biology that you study for chemistry. You can't study the same way for sewing that you would study for like a
licensing or business.
Yeah, a business class. Like there's so much, classes demand different things from you. So first thing, ask what the class demands, how you can get that A, how you can get there, and then how you can study to get that, you know? And take it seriously because your tuition is going towards that.
Yeah, class might be boring, but it may be important in the future, or what you're learning may be a stepping stone for something else that you may need to know.
I feel like another important thing I learned in college is develop your brand. Your LinkedIn, your resume, like who are you as a person? What's your elevator speech? If I gave you 2 minutes and I said, why should I hire you? 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 You should be able to tell me in 2 to 3 minutes your certifications, your education, your internship, your experience. Like, why are you significant, you know, like what makes you different from the application
Yep.
pool, you know? And we're both realizing that, like with her internship, with my internship, like it's just everyone needs to know about you in 2 to 3 minutes,
Yep.
tops, you know? Do you have experience with that? How people like
yeah, time is money, and sometimes you'll encounter people who are up there and you're starting out and you need to get your foot in the door, and an elevator speech like what Leah said could get you noticed like right away, and people don't want to waste time. They don't want to waste time on someone who's not prepared, because who's going to want to hire you if you don't have what they're looking for?
Yeah.
You have to have the edge, and you have to present yourself in a very particular manner, like that is sellable. You're a product, basically.
You know. Another thing, clean up your social media. Clean up your social media. I'm in the process of helping this girl, but it's so important. And like her situation, she needs to add more to her social media. But like in other situations, people have too much on their social media.
Too much information.
So be careful with too much information. Be careful with pictures, and be careful with what you say and how you write. You know, I always write grammatically correct. I write I-N. I don't write in. I'm in the no, like I am in the blah blah blah.
High school is over.
High school's over. You know. Like,
yeah. You're not gonna write like that on your resume. They'll throw it right in the trash and laugh.
Yeah. And nowadays, job recruiters, colleges type in your name. If your Facebook come up, if they type in Google searches and they see your photos come up, no bueno.
Not even Google. They have programs where they'll look up background checks, everything, and they'll find even like on Twitter. You have to confirm your account.
Yeah.
They don't even anything with your name in it. They'll find it.
Anything with your name in it. So you have to be extra careful. And one thing I'll tell students to do: Google your name. Google search yourself. Act like you're a recruiter. Google yourself. See what's coming up, you know? And then also to see if your name is in the industry, you know? So if I type in my name and I type in health and my name shows up, I'm happy. If I type in healthcare, my name shows up, I'm happy, you know? If she types in her name and fashion shows up, she's happy. If she types in her name and illustration or graphic design or something comes up, she's happy, you know? So make sure your name is kind of being in the field, because you want to interact socially within your field. That's like so important in terms of internships and making connections.
Yeah, networking is so important, and that's the key to just get your name and your brand out there, your image.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you want your name, you want to be the first person someone recommends to someone else. When they think of like, oh, someone might say, oh, do you know an intern or someone, a student who might want to work here, or they're going to say, oh, yeah, Leah, she's great. Oh, yeah, I know her GPA, she told me her information, whatever. They'll remember you, and that's really essential.
It is. It's really important. Do you feel like you've learned, how have you changed as a person from like now to like when you entered? Like what's different about you?
Before I wasn't as proactive in networking. Now I know, like when I see someone, I have to give a firm handshake, make eye contact, I have to say my name clearly, I have to listen to what they're saying and remember key things so they know that I was listening. I talked, even in my classes, I get at least 2 contacts in each of my classes, no matter what major someone else is. You never know who could recommend you, or who knows someone who knows someone to get you like a place somewhere, because you just never know. Before, I never used to do that. I was scared, timid, a little bit awkward, but now I'm pretty confident, and I know what I want, and I know my goals, and I know that networking is what we need to do.
Same. I feel like I've definitely gotten more outspoken a little bit more. I'm much more like, I guess growing into your womanhood, but like I'm much more outspoken. Like if something bothers me, I'm more likely to say it now. I'm more likely to defend people more because I know more things. I feel like I'm growing into my own a little bit. I'm also learning to unlearn. So I feel like in college you're learning all this stuff, or you're learning what you like, and your family sometimes get you, like from family I get positive and negative feedback, and you got to kind of know to pick and choose your battles, but also learn to unlearn problematic things. Like not all, but like an Asian family might hear like what you're doing and be like, oh, that's so, like you can't, you know, say very negative things. Somebody might hear what I'm doing, instead of going to grad school, I'm doing a fellowship, and they might be like, oh, that's so like blah blah blah. But you need to like have positive energy around you, and any person that says anything negative, keep a mental note and just keep them a distance. We just talked about that. Like
as long as you know your goals and how to get there, people who don't know better and they have their own like I don't know the word. If they have their own perspective of doing something, and they don't know that there are other ways to get to where you want to go, they might look down on you. But as long as you set a goal for yourself and you know how to get it and you can do it, just go for it.
Yeah. I think another thing college taught me too is like sacrifices. So we talked about this, like social life. That's a sacrifice. Like, I went to school on a different coast. She stayed in the city, and like, we don't talk every day. When we do talk, we talk a lot, you know. But it's like we're both working on different things. But we know, like, even as a friend, like, always keep your friend duties up to account. So like, every time I talk to her, like, I don't just say, hey, like, internship, or hey, like, what's your, like, I say, like, how are you doing? Like, how are you mentally? How are you spiritually? How are you, so, like, really check up on your friends, because don't just say how are you, like, expand that how are you, because people are struggling, and sometimes they can't tell their families, but sometimes they can't tell, like, certain people, and they can only tell you, and it's just really important to check up on them.
Yeah, that's another thing. When you have certain friends that you will be with for a very long time, you have to keep in contact with them, especially people who are going to be in your network, your main network, that will support you emotionally and in a very unstigmatized way. They'll like always be there for you, and you need to surround yourself with people who are going to push you and always look out for you, and sorry, I'm saying "and" a lot.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you need a group of friends that are going to motivate you to do better.
Yeah. And you just be very picky and choosy with your friends. Like, as of right now, like, she's like on, like, she's doing like good stuff, you know. And like, the people she meets in her life right now, they're doing great things. But just always pay attention to like the people who know you when you're at the bottom, when you're like freshman year, I didn't know anything, or maybe when you lost an internship, or I lost, you know, if you lost a job, or you're doing a semester over, when you're going through bad points, see who's like on your team and who's not on your team. Like, pay attention to the good and the bad, and see who's like supporting you.
Yeah, what I was gonna say. So just always, this is gonna be kind of the age where you're gonna be a little bit selfish, because you have to look out for yourself. At the same time, you are looking out for your friends, but you do have to be aware of who's around you and what you do yourself. Your parents may not understand, your close friends may not understand, but you have to know what you have, what you're doing, and what you're sacrificing now, what's going to happen in the end, what's going to pay off in the end, in the long run.
What advice do you have in terms of parents? I have family members who are dealing with this right now, where they don't know what they want to study, and the family's like, oh, if you're not going to be doctor, lawyer, nurse, like, don't come.
Hey, I'm back and I'm better. I want you bad as ever. Don't let me just let up. I wanna give you better.